Hi, my name is Vicky Miethe, and I am a culture shift creator. I help leaders and their teams go from dysfunctional to co-creating and engaged teams that go the extra mile in order to create extraordinary results. I'm also the author of the chapter 7 in the book, the chapter of how to transform company cultures and create engagement. In this chapter, we deconstruct a real-life case showing the impact of the change of the CEO's mindset and approach to change. Her change in her mindset and her approach sowed the seed of trust throughout the organization and built a foundation of change readiness, a change readiness that is lasting even years later. I am looking very much forward to hear your thoughts.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to you wherever your feet are planted. A very warm welcome and thank you for joining us at our monthly regulars table, sponsored by our CIQ European Collective. My colleague Vicky Miethe will be speaking about her Chapter 7, How to Transform Company Culture and Create Engagement in our book, Changing Conversations for a Changing World. I'm Mary Ann Walsh. I'm going to be your host today. I'm an executive coach and I'm based in New York. And I'm very honored to be hosting you this afternoon. I'm in Vicky's class. I'm one of her students, and it's one of the most wonderful classes I am taking. So again, it's a great honor to be facilitating this 1-hour session with her. We also have helping with us on IT as our wonderful Christian. You have just heard from him. He's going to be keeping us all in line. And now I'm going to turn it over to Vicky. Vicky, would you like to say a few opening remarks?
First, thank you for being here, and thank you for hosting, and thank you for your kind words. and also, I have been looking so much forward to this. I'm a culture shift creator, or at least that's what I'm calling myself, because that's my passion. I really want to help teams and organizations create cultures that is thriving, and where we all can be the persons we are and co-create and be more than we thought we were. Doing that, I have been doing that for many years. I have my expertise, I guess I will call it, is actually to create lasting change. And that's what we are going to discuss today. In the chapter in the book, I have shared an example of a success where we actually managed to do it for lasting, actually a change that's still lasting as we speak. Today we are taking another approach. We are out of an example of where it didn't work. We are going to discuss what is actually key to create lasting change. So when I'm in a moment of sharing a story that is a story of partly, it's totally a story of failure. It's just to emphasize that there is some certain aspect that we need to take into account when we change. Never mind if it's actually a team organization or if it's a personal change. So we don't necessarily need to work with teams in order to make this valuable for all of us. And I hope you go away today with more awareness of how to use this. You're actually using it already, but I want you to be more aware of how to use it deliberately. I hope that's
Good. Thank you, Vicky. That's very helpful. Now we'd like to turn to you. All of you are here with us this morning, this afternoon, this evening, and tell us a little bit about yourselves. What is your occupation and where are you located? We're keeping it tight because we have a lot to get through this evening. So who can we start with? Karina, can you start for us?
Definitely, I will start. I'm a leadership trainer, coach. Hello, and I also belong to this wonderful CIQ. And I am also very fascinated by working a lot with values and authenticity, personal values. So I'm statued in Stockholm and in Sweden.
Thank you. Who else would like to go? Let's keep it rolling.
Hi,
Anna?
I'm Deborah. I can say ditto to Karina and how she has introduced herself, except for the fact that I'm not in Stockholm, I'm in New York, and I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. Welcome. Who else would like to go? Let's keep the ball rolling.
I'm not in New York. I'm in deep down Bavaria, and it snowed today in May. Can you believe it? Yeah, I'm an executive coach, and I think I'm moving into being a transitions coach because that's what fascinates me. The space in between fascinates me. So that's where I'm at.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Charlotte. Who would like to go next?
My name is Katrin. I'm based in the Ruhr area in Germany. I work as an in-company trainer, and I've just started my coaching journey by taking part in the new foundations program with Ute and Maria, and I'm very happy to be part of this group.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Well, I'll go next. My name is Ana. I'm Portuguese, based in Lisbon, and I met Ute, and she's the responsible for me to be here. We met in a training we did together in Barcelona about power dynamics, and yeah, I've been attending these book sessions, and yeah. Taking a lot of value from it. I'm an executive coach and also very interested in transitions and also women leadership development.
Thank you very much. Welcome. Linda, can we hear from you?
You're mute.
Yeah, where am I from? So I'm based basically somewhere halfway between Charlotte and Kathleen. So in Germany, the edge of the Black Forest. And I'm also a CIQ coach, work a lot in leadership development, but also intercultural communication. And I do a lot of transition coaching. So people mostly moving from one job to another, that kind of transition, but also transition when it comes to moving from one culture to another. It can be a business culture, but it could also be a national culture. That's me.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you for sharing. Who else would like to go?
I'll go.
Oh,
go on, Andrea. Andrea, you go first, please.
Thank you. My story fits quite nicely to Linda. So I'm Andrea. I'm a German alien based in the UK, but I'm originally from Norddeutschland. So that's a little bit further away from where you all are. I'm coaching women who are transiting to work in developing countries. And some of them are involved in small, not just for-profit businesses. So there are lots of overlaps and there are lots of different facets to my background. And I bring all of those together through the coaching.
Thank you for sharing that. Ute.
Hello, I joined late, apologies, but I'm here. What's
Wonderful.
the task?
Just to introduce yourself.
Okay, good. Well, I'm Ute and I'm a member of the collective. And yeah, it's the first regulars table that I'm late to, but I'm even more so looking forward to seeing how it evolves. When I'm not a member of the collective, I work in the corporate world, helping people to become more effective in their communication practices, helping teams to work better together and to create healthy cultures in the workplace. So that is what I normally do when I'm working.
Thank you, and thank you for being here. We're delighted. Jane, can we hear from you?
Yes, you can. I'm moving around, so hence not having my video on too much. And I'm on a phone, so I can't see everybody. Yeah, I'm Jane. I'm in London. I'm an executive career coach, I suppose, sort of specialising in women's leadership and supervisor in training currently as well.
Thank you,
So
Linda.
I'll leave it there.
And we're happy you're on. Have we missed anyone? Is anyone?
Joe.
Is everything?
Joe.
Joe. Oh, Joe. Yes.
But firstly, apologies for being late. So I'm really delighted to be here. And my name is Joe. I am based in the far north of Scotland in the Highlands. And I am part of the CIQ collective. And I do a lot of work with corporates, supporting them on a consultancy basis, leading change. It's a particular interest of mine, but I also do coaching as well. Lovely to meet you all.
Thank you, Joe. Good to have you here. Since
What about Christian? Is he going to tell us something?
Oh, he did go. But Christian, would you like to tell us a little more?
Okay, I'm based in Switzerland. I'm a agile project leader, coach, and facilitator, working full-time in a company. And I love project work and organization doing project and all the human aspect of it inside one project, inside several, betweens, a lot of fun stuff to do and conversational intelligence to be used to make people more happy at the workplace. That's it.
And again, we're delighted. We're delighted you're here with us, wearing another hat.
Could you just make me a host again?
Thank you.
Sure.
Yep.
Did I change the game here? Because, okay.
Oh, you're the master.
Okay, well, sorry about that.
You just make me the host again.
So I hope you're ready for some right brain fun. Today, we're going to have an icebreaker, and Christian is going to put it up on the screen, and we want you to annotate some bananas that you're going to see in a minute on the screen.
Okay.
Here are the bananas.
See the bananas?
Yes. Take a banana for yourselves. You must annotate, and you can personalize any of the bananas, just one, using the annotation tool. So have some fun, get creative, and use your right brain.
If you move your mouse on the top of the screen, and you can even do it from the phone, you should have the button already. If you move on the top of the screen, there should be a zoom bar, and somewhere there should be an annotate button. It's like a pen. And then you can enable the pen and you can draw. So just
let yourself go.
Find on the top of the screen the annotation button by playing around with your mouse. And then feel free to annotate.
I love it. Let yourself go wild. I'll give you about 1 more minute. Okay, let's call everyone back.
Okay,
stop now. We want to. How did that feel to use your right brain? What was the experience like for you? Anybody?
Letting go.
Yeah, just felt, I could feel all the energy go right through my hands. How was the exercise itself, actually drawing with the banana? Was it easy? Was it difficult? More importantly, was it fun?
Fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Okay, that gets us ready. We're a little bit behind time, so we want to keep moving along. Now we're going to turn to Vicky to talk to us about her failure experience, actually. You know, she's facilitated over 75 Culture Shift programs. So it's interesting that she's going to tell us in detail about her one failure.
It's not necessarily the one failure, but it's the failure I am most ashamed of, I can see. 8 years ago, I was hired together with my partner to help a manager and the teacher of a boarding school for teenagers to become more coherent, as the teachers and the managers actually didn't work very well together, and the parents were starting to complain a lot. And we created a 2 days workshop, which is the way I normally work. And during this workshop, it became apparent that the teachers were actually afraid of the manager. And we addressed that directly with them, and the managers agreed to receive all the complaints from the examples from the teachers, while we were present to ensure that the example was actually specific and not a personally attack. And he did it beautifully. He sat in a chair with nothing around himself, and then he simply had eye contact with one teacher at a time and asked for this teacher's examples and received them without any justifications, anything. He only asked clarifying questions. He did it beautifully. And halfway through all this, where he simply moved his chair, so he kept having direct eye contact with the speaker. Around midways, one of the teachers actually started with all the examples where he had complaints about the manager's behaviors and interactions. And then he started sharing examples of good interactions with the manager, which is actually where the managers got emotional. And they ended up actually sharing both ways and created a beautiful culture guideline. At the end of the 2 days, it really created a shift inside those 2 days. So when we left that workshop, we congratulated ourselves. We were really proud that we had managed to create this, and we had got high fives. We had got the energy was really high when we left. But it turned out we congratulated ourselves too early, because when during the workshop, the manager had asked for our help and support to keep the culture alive. And a week after the workshop, we contacted the manager because he hadn't kept an appointment he had made with us. And when we contacted him, he turned us down and said, well, the shift has taken place. I can drive it from here. It's okay. I don't need you. And we accepted it. And that's our mistake, primary. We simply said it, okay, it's his choice, and we don't want to force anything on it. So we just went on with the rest of our engagements with other clients until 3 months later. Then the chair of the board contacted us and said they have fired the managers because he hadn't managed to keep the change alive, and the teachers were starting to resign in bulk. What had happened was that we had failed to make the manager and the teachers and the boards aware that motivation for change comes in steps. We need to, our brain are built to, it's actually lazy. It's built to do what we are comfortable with, what we know that feels safe, even though it's undesirable, even though we rational knows that we will be better off doing something else or taking a step towards a change. If we don't feel it enough, it feels as our brain will keep talking us to do what we are already doing, because it feels it's safer here. The known is more safe. And if we are not aware of this, we very often steps back into the known. We had built a motivation for change during the workshop, and they were very keen to do it. We had built on both the away from motivation and the towards motivation, and the away from motivation is where we want to move away from something that's very undesirable. And that's often the steps where we are willing to step outside our comfort zones. And we had also built this desire culture view or vision, but we hadn't managed to keep that alive for them. We hadn't given them the tools to keep it alive after they had moved away from the undesirable. So because we have created a huge shift already in the workshop, they actually felt comfortable to do something, but then the daily work took over and the focus shifted. And because it was not undesirable anymore, the focus actually shifted very quickly to the daily work, because now it felt okay. And then all the new things they had to do, it felt uncomfortable. They started feeling the uncomfortable of the unknown because it was not undesirable anymore, and they hadn't the tools to keep the vision alive. So they stepped back, or rather the manager stepped back, which frustrated the teachers, and they got even more afraid of him, actually, because he was not keeping his word this time. This is the single most significant failure I have ever had. I really feel responsible for the teachers and for the managers too, because we left him sailing his own, and I still feel ashamed of it. When we speak of changes, there is 3 critical keys, and we will go into those in a moment. But I would actually think that even though this is my most significant failure, it's also what I really have learned from. And today, I never leave my clients without an integration plan, and they are not allowed to say, we don't need you. I'm actually making sure that they are aware of this, that this is our natural inclination is to step back towards the known if we are not very focused. So we built an integration plan always. So I learned from it. Yes, Ute, fail, the first attempt is learning. You're totally right. Failure is not a failure. Failure is the stepping stone to learning. It's a failure stepping to success. And that's what we also need to keep in life. But I would like you now to, in breakout room, just share what a failure you have had been part of. It can be at work, it can be personally, it doesn't need to be a team. I speak out of a team because that's what I primarily work with. But it can just be a change you wanted to attempt for yourself. So please share just 2 and 2. What have you actually had a failure yourself?
And Christian will put you into breakout rooms in pairs.
welcome back. How was that?
Great.
Was it hard to find a failure to share?
No. No, not at all.
Did you discuss what you can learn from it?
Yes.
Okay, Deborah, yeah, I get that. It's hard to choose which one. Yeah. We all have them and we can all learn from them. There is 3 key that in any change that is always part of the success for when we have success with our changes, and it doesn't matter if it's an organizational, team, or personal change. These 3 keys is always present. They may not be all as a equal present, but they are all part of it. And the 3 keys is the trust. So we need a level of trust. Now I speak out of a team organizational first, and then I'll go into the personal or individual part afterwards. But the trust level needs to be on a level where we are willing to listen to each other. So if we are really resistant and really skeptic, we are actually not listening to each other. And those of you who are CIQ coaches know this, and those who is not, actually just think back. If you don't trust a person, you're actually not really hearing what they're saying. You may hear the words, but you don't necessarily hear their intention behind the words. And we need to be on a level where we at least are willing to listen in order to even have a chance to do anything. So the trust level in any change, we need to work that, and we need to have that in mind. I keep one question in my mind all the time is, does this create more trust? And if it doesn't, how can I create more trust doing this? And if it's a personal transformation I'm seeking to get, I'm actually, how can I create more trust in myself and my own abilities? So it's the same. It's just the trust towards yourself. Does that make sense?
Very
Makes
good.
a lot of sense.
Very good.
The second key, which was where we failed in the example I shared before, is the motivation. We need, as human beings, we are resistant to change. Even though we rationally know a change is desirable or preferable, our brain will seek to see the known as more comfortable or more accepted. And any change, even a small change, is a step outside our comfort zone. We need to have that in mind. That doesn't mean that a change is impossible. It's just need that it's natural to feel a kind of resistance during the process. When we want to create lasting change, we need to activate the motivation for the change. And motivation comes in 2 parts. It comes away from motivation, as a motivation to move away from something that's very undesirable. That's often the first part. That's where we often get the energy or willingness to actually take the first step. And the first step is always the most difficult. Then when we have done that, we are moving away from that feels uncomfortable. And at a certain point, the balance is tipping. So we don't feel the uncomfortable with the undesirable situation anymore. But now we're actually starting to feel the uncomfortable feeling of being outside our comfort zone. And that's when our brain starts to question our actions. We're starting to, do I really need to do this? This feel wrong. This feel awkward, or can I do this? We get all these kind of questionable inner questions. And if we are not aware that it is because we don't feel the discomfort we are moving away from anymore, we actually now are often halfways, but we need to keep, also move our focus towards what we really want to achieve instead of what we want to move away from. And that's the towards motivation, the desired future. And that's where we hadn't helped. In the story I shared in the beginning, we had built that, but we hadn't given the tools to keep it alive when the daily work took over. The towards motivation is actually what keeps us going even when it's hard. So, and it is just as important as the away from motivation. And that's another part, is that we as human beings, as what motivates me doesn't necessarily motivate Ute or you personally. So when we are speaking a team or organizational changes, we actually need to motivate both away from and towards motivation, because all parts of the team, or all people in the team, all people in the organization are different. We are not motivated by the same thing. So when you really want to create a change that is lasting in an organization or a team, we need to make sure we are motivating everybody. So we need to motivate on both sides, and still have a focus from the leader's side that when we have stepped a certain part of, or gone a certain part of the process, we need to focus more on the towards. If you think back on one of your changes, and never mind what kind of change it is, have you ever heard, "At least I know what I have"? That sentence are very common when we are at the tipping point. And if you hear that, you need to focus on the desire and not on the away from motivation. So that's the step 2, that we really need to focus on the motivation. And then step 3 is the psychological safety. We need to feel safe and confident enough that we can handle the situation. We need to have some kind of idea of what this change will mean for us. And again, that's part of the ideal future. But it also, what does this mean for me personally in my work? What kind of person am I? How do I behave? What is my vision of myself? One way to do and make this visible in a team or organizational change is actually to invite participants to have some kind of influence on the change. Not necessarily the decision, but how to navigate it, how to work it in the daily life. How do I behave? How do I act in this change? And they need to be part of how to decide that, because both it's actually them that knows best, but it also where you create a sense of I have some kind of control, and none of us like lack of control. So it involves also clear and sincere communication all the way during the process. On a personal level, it means that we need to have enough confidence in ourselves, and we need to keep aware that we are taking steps that feels uncomfortable, that where we feel as a failure, that we feel we are not good enough, and we need to allow ourselves that feeling and support ourselves and not bang ourselves in the heads. So we are not too hard on ourselves when we are making changes. Those 3 keys are always present when you succeed, and one or more are lacking if you fail in any transformation. Yes, Ute. So now you are going back into breakout rooms. First, I have, do you have any questions to the 3 keys we need to address?
Can you bullet them once more, please?
Yeah, you trust. There needs to be a trust that where you at least are willing to listen to each other. If those of you who knows the conversational dashboard, it's at least a wait and see. The ideal is partner, but you can work with wait and see, and from there on. That's where we listen to each other. Then there's the motivation. You need to activate both the away from and the towards motivation, and you have to shift your focus midways, or at least during the process. And this last part is the psychological safety. You need to create a sense of security or safety, where you feel you have some kind of control over what is going to happen and where you're going to be. Any more questions?
Very helpful. No.
Okay, then I'll ask you to go into breakout rooms again. And this time, take one of your success stories of transformations. And again, it can be personal or it could be team and organizations. And look at that and see how did I work the 3 keys? We do it all the time. It's ingrained in us, but we are not always aware that we do it. So try to create awareness. How did I actually work the trust? How did I work the motivation? How did I work the sense of safety in this story? And share that with each other, and prepare to share the significant part of it for all of us afterwards.
And we'll do that for 5 minutes, Vicky.
Okay.
In the breakout room.
Okay, I send you to the breakout room now. Enjoy.
That was too short.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. Time is running.
Too short.
How was
Sorry,
it?
Anna, you didn't get a chance.
How was it? Did you have stories to share? How did you use the 3 keys in those stories? Give me an example. Just speak up, whoever wants to.
Marion made sure I used the 3 keys. I didn't use the 3 keys, but she made sure that we went back and we thought about the story, and then we thought about, okay, where are the 3 keys here? Yeah,
exactly. And where were they?
Okay, Marion, you tell them.
Well, Linda told me this lovely story about some coaching work she'd done with somebody, and at the end, the guy was it the job that he went for? So I said to her, well, where did the 3 things come in? What did you do? And then when we started breaking it down, she did indeed build trust. She also challenged him a lot and put trust in him. So she challenged him, and he wanted to read his presentation, and she actually challenged him and said, no, you can't read. If you want to do that, I'm not the right coach. So that was very confrontational. But actually, through her coaching, she actually helped him develop trust in himself, and I saw that as motivating him. We didn't have a lot of time to discuss it. So actually, the 3 things when you were talking about it, they all kind of blended and went together. Have I explained that properly, Linda?
Yes, you've done a brilliant job. Thank you.
Thank you. Other examples?
I've got an example. I was with Corinna, and it was interesting because her example was marvelous about the personal change that she's going through with house, and then I was talking about a change that I was working with a client. And I think for me, the thing that really, and this is stating the obvious, but sometimes things just become really clear, was actually that working through those three things is recognizing that when a change happens, it's not about everything changing, that it's just something changing, and everything else, that there's other things which provide stability and security and reassurance around you. So helping people see that can sometimes, lower the fear and up the acceptance and moving towards the changes that they are trying to make.
It's a brilliant point, that part of creating psychological safety can actually be emphasizing what is not changing, because then you feel, okay, it's not that big a deal. So it's a brilliant example, and Linda's example of where you weave things. That's what's happening in real life. It's not necessarily trust here and motivation here and psychological safety here. It's actually weaved together. That's life. But just have them in mind. Do we have other examples? Do we have time for more examples?
We have coming up on the hour. We have 1 minute until 7 p.m.
One more example.
Okay.
Well, that's a lovely example.
Yes.
But I don't, yeah. Barbara, are you happy for me to share it?
You can share.
Yeah, so Varda has started to run workshops for the first time recently, and she was quite nervous about doing that. The trigger was that somebody asked her to support them. So that provided her with the psychological safety to sort of step into this a bit of the unknown. And she beautifully said, I trusted myself because she trusted me.
Oh, that is lovely.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a lovely example of how, she got the security from working with somebody else and being trusted in. Yeah. So how you weave again, it's an example of how it all sort of weaves together rather than it's separate.
Yeah. Exactly. Trust is the main key in everything we do. We can help people just by place our trust in them. We can help ourselves just in trusting in ourselves. We can much more when we trust than when we are questioning. A beautiful example. Thank you. I would love to hear more examples, but please have the three keys in mind. And when you attempt a change, just ask yourself, how can I build trust? How do I motivate? Where do I switch? How do I ensure that I motivate both ways? And how can I feel safe while doing it? Thank you.
Thank you, Vicky. We have time for questions. Does anyone have a question or two that you'd like to ask Vicky?
Yeah, I'd quite like to ask a question, because we talked, especially at the beginning, Vicky, about how about it's embedding this change, because you got to the motivational part, you actually built the trust between them, you had it all there, but it was the embedding, it was keeping that sense of urgency, it was keeping that's going. So my stories are relatively short, where you didn't really have this long, but I find with change within myself, I'm great at the beginning, I'm super duper, I'm super great at motivating myself, but having the staying power when it gets uncomfortable, I'll do it tomorrow, that's the really difficult one, and how do you keep that going?
It's again, you are it sounds like you, when I just take an example, I would like to lose weight, And I have wished for that for the last 20 years. And I keep doing it, and then I start running, and then I start exercising, and then suddenly I stop. Not suddenly, it's gradual, and it's quite fast at the moment. I have actually built a habit of quitting doing it. In the beginning, I have this vision of me thin. I can remember how I was when I was thin. It was a long time ago, but I can still remember it. And I have this vision I could become that person again. I have this vision of that I could actually run, that I could. I remember also when I was able to ride as a horseback riding for a whole day without feeling it, and I can't do that today. And that vision I have in mind when I start. And I also have this because I'm a towards motivated person as a person. So I need the vision in order to start. But I also need a kick as a to actually. It can be that I am windy while walking my dog or something that actually makes me, or I can't fit into my favorite clothes anymore or something like that. That is the Kickstarter, and then I have this vision. And then I start doing the exercises, whatever I have decided to do, and it becomes part of. As in the beginning, I focus. I remember I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to do this, and I still have this vision alive in my head. And after a week or so, for me, it becomes not as essential. My focus in my head and my focus and intention are somewhere else. And then it gets hard. Oh, I can skip it. I don't have the time today. Oh, I'm too tired. Or it's raining. I don't want to run in the rain. And so on. My focus is simply shifting, and I allow myself the excuses because I'm not keeping the vision alive. I have learned that when you keep the vision alive, you have to keep speaking about it. You have to keep feeling, being there where you want to be. That's at a personal level. On the organizational level, you have to keep speaking about the examples. You have to keep speaking of what is good and what is not working. So you keep having, this is not working. Now we are going the wrong way. And what can we do to move towards what we want? So you keep it alive, you keep it in focus. What the trick is to keep the focus alive. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and urgent, of course. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it seems you really need to work on both the way from, and that's why you work in examples. You actually create an agenda and team meetings where you work what is working and what is not working. So you keep the same process going all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do that and you help them stay focused on that, then the change will last.
In the example that you gave us, who was it that lost interest first?
The manager.
Mm-hmm. So the urgency wasn't there for him.
No, he felt comfortable. He didn't see the need because we hadn't made him aware that was natural. He had moved away from what was uncomfortable, but we hadn't made him aware that it was not enough.
Mm. Yeah.
It was our responsibility, it was not his.
Thanks.
Totally our.
We are coming up at almost 7:10. We have 3 minutes to go. My suggestion is if you're hungry for more of what Vicky has to say, sign up for her course next time she gives it.
Thank you.
Before we go, Christian would like to tell us a little bit about his program that's coming along June 16th. Just about a minute for that. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to give you some information about where you can find more and what's going on in the coming months. In order to do this, I'm just going to share my screen to show you an easy way. The way I do this is that I type in any kind CIQ European Collective, and then you found the c-iqeurope.com. And there you have this page, which is our book. And if you scroll down, you get two interesting links. The last one is every session we have, every regular table, we have one per month, and we are probably halfway, so they're going to be more each month until end of the year. They are recorded. So if you click here, you're going to get to the recording, and you can watch all of the previous table. Oh, now I have to challenge my, oh. I have some tech issue. So I have to do the whole stuff. I have to stop sharing to fix my internet. Sorry about this. It's I'm going to do something different. Okay, now I can share again. And then I show you the other button, which is here. We have a button for the regular tables, and there's one per month, as we said. So the number 7 is today, and the next one is going to be number 8. And every month there's a new one appearing. So it's going to go, I think, until 15 or 16. I don't remember. So there's more to go until end of the year. And the next one I will be presenting. The next one is about Agile Project Room. So it's a case study about an Agile Project Room, which I use for project team. So basically a team is a group of 2 or more people going on an endeavor to achieve something. And it can be painful or it can be easy. And I prefer the easy way with lots of fun. And I've created an environment for this with some property and some guidance and of course some coaching and mentoring. And I will be sharing the way I did it and the learnings, and of course some interaction and playground and question.
Thank you, Christian, for that. We all look forward to seeing you in June. Thanks everyone for your participation. It was a great session. Thank you, Vicky.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Stay safe. Bye-bye now.